The Jaguars may have two potential breakout stars. I know that's something you don't really hear often, but there's two guys that I've been very impressed with over the last 2 weeks, and now that I'm kind of focusing on the Jags for Fan to Fan Network, which this channel, I still cover everything. Don't you worry about that. But I'm focusing on the Jags for that for the website. I've got an opportunity to really take a look at the Jaguars, and if you know me, you know I'm an Uncle Rico truther. I'm a believer. All praise be to Gardner Minshew. Saying. But before we get into it, I'm Bro Smoot, just in case you didn't know. So let me give you the authentic intro. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Bro Smoot, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the video. And then also tomorrow we start our prospect rankings. So you're gonna get my kind of like my finalized version before the college football season starts of all my prospect rankings, and I'll even give you my round projections on those guys. But let's go ahead, let's get into this, and let's start with the backfield of the Jaguars, because yes, they got Leonard Fournette. They literally just released him for free. They couldn't find a suitor. They couldn't get a fifth, a sixth, a seventh for him. So they decided about a week and a half before the season starts to be a fine time to just get rid of him. Kind of a douche move on you Jaguars, not gonna lie. But this presents a lot of opportunity in that backfield, because Fournette, he made up 30.6% of Jacksonville's offensive yards. And on top of that, he was 79% of the workload in the backfield. So there is a lot of opportunity. So who will those carries go to? Could say Raquel Armstead, but he's been on the reserve list. He hasn't had a chance to practice with the team, and he won't until this Thursday. Chris Thompson hasn't had more than 68 carries in a season. We all know he's more the pass catching back. So who? How about Dwan Smoot? That's right, a sleeper. My potential breakout candidate here is Smoot, because he's an undrafted free agent from Nebraska, or he was in 2019. He spent the preseason with the Saints, and he actually looks pretty impressive there in limited time. He was released, picked up by the Jaguars before the season, and didn't really see significant playing time until week 17 versus the Colts, where he had 9 rushes for 27 yards, 3 receptions for 23 yards. Now, between Smoot and Armstead, they have a very similar running style. They're kind of bruisers in their own way, but Smoot, he's a bit heavier, about 10 to 15 pounds heavier than Armstead, while Armstead is significantly the faster back. He ran a 4.45 at the combine, while Smoot at his pro day ran a 4.65, and they are noticeable. It's noticeable. It's noticeable. But with Armstead having to sit out, Smoot, I think he's really taken advantage of camp, and he's looked really good since I've been starting to cover the Jags primarily for Fan to Fan Network. I got to watch a few of their practice highlights, and Smoot's looked really good. He's been hitting the hole with power and explosion on drills, but the one I was most impressed with, I got to see some of their red zone drills, and he actually ended up coming up with a score, and he's out there running good routes. Not running back routes, but he's running routes, like wide receiver routes. And he looks solid. Granted, he wasn't the first option on that play. It was more so Uncle Rico going through his progressions, but still, you like to see that. I like seeing him display that playmaking ability the last few weeks. And on top of that, we saw that in the preseason for the Saints, and the camp for the Saints as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if he led the team with carries in week 1. Now, am I saying this guy's going to be a fantasy sleeper? He is a stud in the weight, and he's a must-have for your roster. No. If you're in fantasy, don't you dare touch the Jaguar backfield. Shame on you. If you're in a dynasty league, hey, consider it. You take shots like this. But what I am saying is that there will be competition in the backfield, and I can see a path where Smoot ends up with the most carries by the end of the season. So let's go ahead, get into my other breakout candidate, which is a bit more realistic, I would say. It's Dwan Smoot, the defensive end. With Yannick Ngakoue off in Minnesota, they need someone to step up and play opposite Josh Allen. And many people will tell you, well, they spent a first-round pick on Clavon Chazon. The team loved his athleticism, but it looks like they're reporting they're going to bring him up a little bit more slowly. So I expect him to be more of a situational guy, at least in his first season. I believe it's going to be Smoot, though, who steps up. He's heading into his 4th season after being drafted in the 3rd round out of Illinois back in 2018. Would that be? Might be getting that wrong. I'm bad with time. 2017. But I remember going back, I actually went back and looked at what I had for Smoot at the time as far as my evaluation. It was like, he's got a guy with a fast first step that'll bend the edge, high motor, could use more pass rush moves, and I said he would be a liability in the run, and he has virtually no bull rush. And the bull rush thing is still true, but he's been a very good run defender the last 3 seasons. He has expanded his pass rushing toolbox. Like, this guy has some of the quickest hands you will see. He's getting praise from the defensive line coach there in Jacksonville. The guy had 6 sacks last year. Keep in mind the first 2 seasons where they kind of like played him a little bit. It was a limited sample size, but he had 26 pressures over the course of 286 pass rush snaps, which is pretty stellar. And the guy, he's not a liability against the run. He quite often he is the first guy in the backfield, and he's actually been a solid tackler. You don't really see that from the defensive line too much. Typically you see those guys miss tackles. I'm just saying, they typically, you will see the highest missed tackle rate come from the defensive line, but he's actually pretty solid in that regard. So I think he's gonna come in and he's gonna get a lot of snaps. This guy, he has a chance, I think, because he's having a big camp. He's been dominating. He's taken, I know it's Cam Robinson, but still bending the edge around Cam Robinson like it's nothing. He had a nasty stunt move on Andrew Norwell. There we go. So the guy's been looking very good, and the Jaguars are going to need that because their secondary is still a work in progress. So what helps the secondary? When the defensive line forces the quarterback to have to throw the ball before he is ready. That really can help this secondary. And I'm just gonna say, you know, man, Smoot, I think you're gonna see Chazon sprinkled a little here and there, but I wouldn't be surprised if Smoot ended the year with double-digit sacks. And I don't think you should be surprised either. But a couple of my potential breakout candidates for the Jaguars going into this season. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And of course, that's it for the video. So as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later. Keep in mind, prospect rankings coming out tomorrow. About to be fun.